For the last few years, the housing market has been a nightmare for buyers. High rates, no inventory, and sellers who refused to budge. But look at this, and this, and this. Right now, there are over 630,000 more sellers than buyers in the US housing market, the largest gap we have seen since 2013. If you've been waiting for the moment where the power shifts back to you, this might be it. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on the data sellers hope you don't see. And I'm going to show you exactly how to spot stale listings and how to use them to your advantage without getting burned. If you are a home buyer right now, you are probably still thinking like it's 2023 or 2024. You feel like you need to overpay just to get a house. You feel like you need to waive every inspection and every contingency just to compete. But in many areas, the market has already moved on. Inventory is rising. Buyers are more cautious. Homes are sitting longer. And what that creates is a gap between what sellers expect and what buyers are actually willing to do. And that gap, that's where the opportunity is. Let's stop for a minute and take a look at the cold, hard numbers. According to Redfin data, we are seeing roughly a 40 to 43% gap between sellers and buyers in many markets. In simple terms, the supply is here. The demand has cooled, and here is where it gets interesting. If a home sits for 31 to 60 days, the average price cut is around 7.3%. If it hits 90 days, now you're looking at double-digit price cuts, over 10% on average. And at the same time, roughly 60% of homes are selling below asking price nationwide. But here is where I need to be very clear. Real estate is hyperlocal. What's happening nationally gives you the trend, but your local market might be moving a little faster or a little slower. For example, here in the Cleveland area, we're seeing roughly 49% of single-family homes selling below asking price right now, which tells us the same story. Buyers are gaining leverage. It might not look identical in every city, but the direction is the same. So why aren't homes selling? Because of what I call the Optimism Trap. A recent survey found that 83% of sellers still expect to get their full asking price. That's pricing based on yesterday's market, not today's. They're living in 2022, you're buying in 2026. And that disconnect, that's where the deals are made. Now let's break down why homes sit on the market. Number one is easy, overpricing. It's not even close. Number two, poor presentation, bad photos, clutter, deferred maintenance. Number three, condition or layout issues. And number four, competition. Buyers are comparing everything. They pick the best house on the market, the rest sit. And once a home sits, buyers start asking, what's wrong with it? Here's the part most buyers miss. Most buyers see a price drop and assume something is wrong with the house. Most of the time, the only thing that was wrong was the price on day one. That's not a red flag, that's a signal. Here is exactly what you should look for if you are a home buyer. Days on market. 30 days, attention drops. 45 days, suspicion builds. 60 plus days, the pressure is real. Price reductions. One is perfectly normal. Multiple price cuts, that's urgency. Another thing to look for is listing language. Motivated seller, bring all offers, quick close preferred. That's a signal. Vacant homes. They have moved on, but they are still paying for the home on a monthly basis. Back on the market. Something happened here to cause this deal to fall through. You and your agent should find out what. One thing I want to note here, this is where local knowledge really matters. Because what feels stale in one market might be normal in another. In some areas, 30 days is slow. In others, it's completely normal. That's why you can't just look at the numbers. You have to understand what is happening in your specific housing market. National headlines tell you what's happening, but local data tells you what to do. Now let's talk about the panic clock. In today's market, it starts around day 21. 3 weekends, multiple showings, no offers. For most sellers, that's the breaking point. Think about what's happening behind the scenes at that point. The seller has probably already mentally moved out. They've told their friends they're moving. They might already be under contract on another house. And every weekend that goes by with no offers, the conversation at home changes. At first it's, let's just wait, the right buyer will come along. Then it turns into, do we need to lower the price? And eventually it becomes, we just need to get this sold. That shift right there, that's where buyers win. If you are a buyer, that's your strike zone, because now you are negotiating with a person under pressure, not just a listing. If this is helping you understand what is really going on in the housing market, do me a favor and hit like and subscribe to the channel. I try to post content like this every week to help buyers, sellers, and homeowners make smarter decisions. The negotiation playbook. When it comes to negotiation, step one is the comparison offer. Don't just throw out a number. Show them the market. Show nearby price drops. You're not lowballing, you're showing them reality. Step two, the concession pivot. Right now, about 39% of sellers expect to give concessions. So instead of asking for a lower price, ask for closing cost assistance or a rate buy down. They keep their number, you lower your payment. Let me give you a quick example. Let's say a house hits the market at $400,000 when the comp said it should be listed at $375,000. It sits for 45 days, no offers. They drop it to $385,000, still nothing. By the time it hits 60 days, that seller is no longer thinking about getting top dollar, they're just thinking about getting out. That's where a smart buyer comes in at $375,000, asks for closing costs, and actually gets the deal done. Same house, completely different outcome depending on the timing. Most buyers are still chasing new listings, but the real opportunities, they're sitting. And again, this is where local matters, because in a market like Cleveland, where we're seeing about 49% of homes selling below asking price, that tells you buyers are negotiating. They're not just accepting whatever price is thrown at them. Less competition, more flexibility, more negotiating power. That's where the deals are happening right now. Okay, let's be real for a minute here. Not every stale listing is a deal. Some are just problems. Foundation issues, roof issues, bad location. Sometimes buyers are avoiding it for a specific reason. You need to be able to spot the difference. Now, if you are a seller, this part matters more than anything, because once your home becomes stale, it's really hard to recover. First thing you need to address is pricing. You don't get a second chance at a first impression. The first 7 to 10 days is where your listing gets the most attention. That's when buyers are watching. That's when you create urgency. If you price it too high from the start, you don't leave room for negotiation, you lose momentum. And once momentum is gone, you are chasing the market down with price cuts. The mistake I see sellers make all the time is they think lowering the price later will fix everything. But what actually happens is the opposite. The longer your home sits, the more buyers assume something is wrong. So instead of getting strong offers, you start attracting bargain hunters. And those buyers, they don't negotiate up, they negotiate down. Second, you need to understand your competition. Your home is not competing with what sold 6 months ago. It is competing with what is active on the market today. Buyers don't care what your neighbor got. They care what else they can buy right now at a lower price. The third thing to think about is presentation. This is where a lot of sellers get lazy. Clean the house, declutter, fix the small stuff. Because buyers don't just see what's there, they imagine everything they will have to fix in the house. Fourth, early feedback. If you're getting showings but no offers, that's your warning sign. That is the market telling you that something is off. And the longer you ignore it, the worse it will get. Fifth, stop testing the market. That strategy worked when buyers had no options at all. You could throw any price out there and buyers would pay it or more. Today, it's one of the fastest ways to become a stale listing. And once buyers see your home has been sitting on the market, they don't get excited, they get suspicious. And one more thing sellers need to understand, you are not competing with national headlines. You are competing with the homes down the street from you. What's happening in California or Florida doesn't matter here in Ohio. What matters is what else is active in your price range in your neighborhood right now, because that's what buyers are comparing your home to. And if you ignore that, That's how you become the listing that sits and sits and sits. Let's bring this all together for a second. The housing market is shifting faster than most people realize. Price drops are becoming a regular occurrence. Homes are sitting on the market much longer, and the inventory is rising. These are all signals that the power is starting to shift. But just because something looks like a deal doesn't mean it actually is. Now that you know how to find these desperate sellers, the next problem is making sure you don't buy their problem house just because it's a good deal. Next week, I will show you the 5 red flags that mean a deal is actually a disaster and you should run away as fast as you can. Subscribe so you don't miss that walkthrough. And if you're thinking about buying or selling and want help navigating the market, reach out. I am always willing to help. Thanks for watching. I'm George Poporad, and I'll see you in the next one.